Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for bringing me my lunch.
Oh, you are so welcome. Yes, sir. Say hi.
No, I left it in the car.
Yes. Uh-huh.
The virtual kids doing things then too?
They are.
How did they get the book?
They probably buy it.
No, actually scan it by chapter and send it to them virtually, unless they would prefer to hold the book in their hand, but they have received the chapters. We're on, did I say 16?
Chapter 16, Monsters Direct 150.
Yes, thank you. I really want them to hear y'all's discussions too, because our discussions in here go quite deep actually. Yes, sir?
It's kind of a cool thing is that this book isn't even, like, it's technically about Victor going on to the ship. You know, this is just his story.
This book is going to end, in a way, right where it began. In the Arctic Circle. Remember, Victor's in bed, he's recovering, and he's telling the ship's captain his story. All this in between is what he's sitting there telling the captain.
He must have a lot of life left.
That's a lot of words, I know. Because I will tell you, I am honestly the quietest person, the most introverted person you may ever meet. When I was a student here, I hardly spoke, unless spoken to. I was very shy. So when my former Terman School teachers found out I was going to be a teacher here, they were proud of me, but they were like, "Are you going to be okay standing up and talking to kids?" And I was like, "Yeah, I kind of conquered that fear." But when I go home, I'm pretty quiet. Otherwise, it's, "What do you want for dinner?" Stop that. I have 4 kids, so I will tell them, "No, stop. Please don't. I'm begging you." Things like that. Mom talk. Yes, ma'am.
My dad, over the weekend, I was like telling my mom.
Uh-huh. Let me just show my middle schoolers while you're talking that I'm watching them.
How did middle school make that much?
There's 50 of them
50.
going through a door. Okay. Ma'am?
I was telling my dad what book we were reading, and he said, "Oh, does it start out in the Arctic Circle?"
Very good. Your dad
And he
remembering.
goes, "Yes," and he said, "That must be the real Frankenstein. That gave me nightmares when I was a kid."
We are. We're going to start over here today, but let me get Taylor, because I feel like we started with Aiden yesterday. All right, Tay? Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna ask, we're gonna watch Frankenstein.
I have an older version of it that we can, if
I
we have
think we
time.
are because we're gonna do it on Halloween.
We'll see. Oh, y'all are. Well, we'll see in here when we can. Yes, ma'am, do we? Not all the way. We can't shut it all the way. Yeah. All right, James, would you start us off with chapter 16, The Monster's Threat?
One evening, as I sat in my laboratory, I thought again, as often I did as the time when I was forming my first creature 3 years ago. I remembered that I had no idea that time would just what kind of evil fiend he would turn out to be. Then suddenly, a frightening thought occurred to me. I have no way of knowing what this new creature will be like. What if she turns out to be 10,000 times more terrible than her husband? What if she delights in evil or murder as he has done? What if she refuses to go away to South America with him as he promised? What if they hate each other? What if because she's so ugly, she's because of her ugliness as well?
All of these are very valid worries. But here's my thing, my big question. At the beginning, I still don't think the creature was evil. In my opinion, he wasn't a fiend until he had been abandoned and hurt. When the creature kills William, that's, for me, an unforgivable act. Yes, ma'am.
May I share my book with her?
Sure, who's lost the book?
She left hers in a locker.
Oh, okay.
Miss Pat never let me go to my locker.
Okay. Just, let's not worry about it now, because our discussions in here are too good to miss for this class. But do y'all know what I'm saying as far as, I don't think the creature was born evil. If he was born evil, wouldn't he have killed Victor right away? Yes, sir.
He could have stayed with the monster and taught him. The monster could have done good things and been good.
He could have went to college.
He could have made.
He studied. He could be Victor's lab assistant right now. What were you going to say?
He could introduce him to people and tell him to not be scared of him. Because he's 9. He's friendly. He turned out to be like he is now.
I just think, exactly as y'all think, that if that creature, who's still nameless, by the way, can we at least give him the respect of a, but can Victor give him the respect of a name? No, still not. 3 years old creature, still doesn't have a name. Can you imagine being 3? Can you imagine being 3 and your mama not naming you?
My mama named me.
Okay, whether you like that name or not. Right. What I'm saying is, if the creature truly was born evil, then when he reached out for Victor, he should have killed him then. And he didn't. Victor ran away and abandoned him. But I can't get past that the creature killed William. I'm sorry, that's unforgivable. And that just clogs my mind right now. Yes, ma'am.
The monster is so friendly. When he first was awakened, Victor thought it was a dream and went to sleep. But the monster was trying to hug him.
Dada. Yeah.
And
Huggies.
the only names that Victor's been giving him is monster.
Oh,
and
now
devil.
we're fiends,
Yeah,
which
monster.
yes is synonymous with devil. You created him. You're his dad, and in a way, you're his God as well.
Yeah. Why do you call him the devil?
Why are you calling him devil?
Because he is
Exactly.
the devil.
Let's see. Let's complicate this even more so. Arif, but then.
But then an even more horrifying thought came to me. Suppose they do get along together and go off to South America. What will happen if they have children? And what if these children are evil like their father and terrorize mankind? Suddenly, for the first time, the terrible consequences of my promise struck me with horror. And it was at that very moment that I looked up to discover the fiend's face of the window, at the window. An evil, ghastly smile spread across his lips as he gazed from me to his partly finished bride.
Did y'all see him at the window when you first turned the
it's in the
page?
picture.
Yes, Charlie.
Can I get a paper towel?
Sure.
He spilled his
Um,
water again.
Only a little.
Oh,
Listen. Here's that other thought. What if they go to South America and they truly love each other and they have little zombie babies?
that's bad.
They could have them for 30 days.
First of all, my
Thankfully,
first
they can have
reaction
dead
is that's a movie I would watch.
Yes.
Love me some zombie shows. Sir?
Okay, first of all, that will be Frankenstein Reborn.
There's a movie called that, by the way, but go ahead. Or is it Revisited? Keep going.
And number 2, how can Victor be his? I know that he created him and all. How
Right.
can Victor actually be his God when?
As a creator.
I know, but besides the creator part, how can he be his God when Fred can just easily kill him right here, right now?
This is true. It's like the old Swedish, the Norse gods. Yeah. They were gods and goddesses. They had powers, but you could kill them. You could defeat them.
Like Thor.
Yeah. These were gods and goddesses that could just live a long time, but they weren't immortal. Yeah.
It's like my grandpa. He said not.
Yes, Lily.
I have 2 things. One is that, these people, like Frank and Fred, they've been sewn together. Whenever they're children, they want to have all the sew marks and stuff, they just have yellow skin.
I don't know. This would really be up to the author, the creator of that story, They shouldn't be sewn together. Yeah,
Add on the Daniels thing.
but it's like what would they be like? I'd be so interested in that. I'm so interested in that. What else are you gonna say? Because you said you had a two-parter.
Yeah. So Daniel, your thing with the God, yeah, that's how would he like? But he hasn't killed him in the whole like.
The creature could have at any moment.
Yeah, but he still hasn't.
He didn't.
But if he did kill him, then he'd be free to literally do anything he wanted. But
No,
then
he
he'd
said
have to
wife.
read and read and read.
Yeah,
and
Oh,
read.
but
Maybe
what?
would not get his girlfriend.
What would he want
He my wife.
to do? You
I
know?
would say get the
There are-
girlfriend.
Because unfortunately, I think the creature passed that breaking point when he killed William. Like, I think that he's not Breaking Bad, I think that creature broke bad, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Hold on, yes, Taylor? Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly, after you, yes. Sure, yeah, and I forgot Kelly's hand was up, I thought it was down for a minute.
I was gonna say that if the creature had babies, what in the world? That would be weird because they're already dead.
They're alive and dead.
It's a story. You gotta go with the flow sometimes. You know what it's called? It's called suspension of disbelief. When a story can be so well written, when a movie or a TV show is so good, and you get so wrapped up in it, that when somebody comes along and is like, this is the worst, you're like, shh. Why are you like, shh? Because you're in it. You're watching it and you
That's what I do with my books.
believe everything. It happens it's a gift if it happens for people when they're reading a book. But it does happen to the majority of us when we're watching something that we're really into.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how crazy and far-fetched the storyline gets. We love it. Even though some people may not understand why, but we just shush them so we can keep watching. Yes, ma'am, Skylar?
If
I forgot.
That's okay, well, if you think, come back to us, okay? Yes, Callie, thank you for
I have
waiting.
a question. How is the mixed up monster supposed to have babies?
Once again, you gotta go with the flow and let someone else create that storyline, yeah? And just go with it. I'd be interested in reading that story though. Yes, ma'am?
Why did Fred want to kill Victor? Because he killed William, but then didn't he want to kill Victor?
He keeps saying, sometimes I'm really angry at you, but then other times he's super calm. And if he wanted to kill him, he's had ample opportunity to do it.
When William said that his father's last name was Frankenstein, he immediately killed him. But then why not just get the whole thing over with by killing Victor?
I can't get past my best friend, remember in my head, Mary Shelley. She's given me such a problem with my creature by killing William. Sometimes in life, she's given us something that we just can't really explain. Isn't it great though?
Yes.
We're so mixed up on our good versus evil because they're both a little good and they're both a little evil. She's a master storyteller. Charlie?
We still don't know what Victor's secret is.
Yes,
No, we're getting there. Can we do these last four only so we can start with Chance actually reading? Chance, what were you going to say? Because if you think it's good now, oh, just wait.
Yeah,
we gotta get there.
he accidentally killed William, and he was like sorry. I would kind of forgive him,
Yes,
but he was happy about it.
and she wrote that. She created that. She gave us this problem.
If she hadn't wrote that sentence, I think it would.
She's good. Oh, no. Wait, your hand already up? Last ones we have got to read. Okay, yes, ma'am.
He's bleeding. No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay, we're fine. Chance, can you start reading, please, suddenly for the first time? Because this is, yo, we haven't even gotten to the good part yet.
We haven't.
No.
This is good.
Let's get there. Come on, Chance.
Suddenly, for the first time, the terrible consequences of my promise struck me with horror, and it was at that very moment that I looked up to discover the fiends. Did we already read this?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry we did, but that was a big break. We're not taking a break between every two paragraphs, though. Go to that ghastly smile.
That ghastly smile and the maddening
Yeah.
gaze made me realize that he was planning some new evil.
Yeah.
How could I ever have been insane enough to promise to create these beings? My rage intensified until I was nearly out of control and out of my mind. I took hold of the partly finished creature and began tearing it to pieces. Arms, legs, body parts flew everywhere, scattering all over the floor of the laboratory.
We're not going to comment on it, all y'all, but just look at the creature's face in that picture.
He's like,
It's
what?
it's kind of cutie patootie though, at the same time,
Look at it.
right? When Victor's tearing apart the girl.
That's my new girlfriend.
John, I took one last.
I took one last look at the monster in the window, then rushed out the door, leaving the hated laboratory behind me. The monster howled in despair and shook his fist at my fleeing back. Then he turned and disappeared into the night.
Can you read one more? Because yours were kind of itty bitty.
Once my rage
Subsided. And that, it doesn't immediately go away. When something subsides, it gently goes away. Right.
I spent the next few hours sitting at my room window staring at the calm sea. A few fish boats were gently rocking in the water, and the friends' voices of the fishermen reached my ears.
Thank you so much. Marshall, can you take over with Suddenly?
We're on page 162.
Oh, thank you. 162.
At the bottom.
And at the bottom of
Suddenly, I spotted a boat paddling furiously towards the shore. The bright moon lit up the figure as it reached the boat close to my house and jumped up. I began to tremble again, knowing without a doubt who it was. I wanted to flee, but I was frozen in my chair. Moments later, the door was flung open. The monster stumbled in. Why did you break my promise, he demanded. Why did you destroy your work and destroy my hopes for a wife after all this time?
Now, we're going to keep reading, but plenty of opportunity to kill Victor right now. And mad enough. Mad enough, okay? Oh, no. Gotta keep reading, because if you think this is the good part, this is not what I was talking about.
part.
And this is good. All right, Rahel, believe me, I cried.
Leave me, I cried. I broke my promise because I can never again create a being as ugly or as evil as you, one who delights in murdering innocent people. Ugly, yes. Evil, yes. Now, he exploded, but also powerful. More powerful than you, my creator.
A little bit more, because that's so tiny.
Yes, you're more powerful than I am, but your threats don't frighten me.
I mean, perfect. I mean, he's telling you, I am more powerful than you. Watch me. Let's see. All right, Lathan, let's get there with gnashing his teeth.
Gnashing his teeth in anger, he warned, "I'll never let you be happy while I'm alone and miserable. I'll have my revenge on you from this day on. Revenge against you will be my only reason for living. Get out, you devil," I screamed.
Oh,
And now he's
a man after my own heart. He doesn't get mad. He gets even. Love that. Oh, respect.
He gonna kill me.
Respect that.
Oh, he's gonna
Yes, sir. Let's not go crazy overboard because we gotta keep reading.
I
Yes.
think he's not killing him because he just wants to make him suffer. He doesn't want to kill him.
Don't get mad, get even. Absolutely. They'll never see you coming. Just get them. Get them when they least expect it. Another one? Revenge is best served cold. Have you ever heard of that
Yes.
before?
No.
Yes, I have.
Here's what it means. When you're, remember the cold-blooded, hot-blooded, I believe, John, you had to read part of that.
Yeah.
When you're hot-blooded, when you're angry, don't get revenge right then. Wait.
Get them late.
Wait until you calm down, where you're not hot-blooded anymore. Let them think you forgot about it, and then get them. They won't see you coming. Now, this is not if you're a 5th grader or a proper middle schooler. This is if you're an evil mastermind or something to think about at the very least. He doesn't react when he's super angry. He's like, I'm gonna get you. And you won't know when. Callie?
There's a Netflix show that has the same saying, and my brother said that you were gonna say that.
Which one? Revenge is best served cold, or don't get mad, get even?
Don't get mad, get even.
One of my best friends who used to teach algebra here, Mrs. Beth Nance, I actually had that put on a t-shirt for her once because it was her favorite saying to her algebra students. She was a very effective teacher. All right, 1, 2, 3, that's it, because we're not even to the good part. Yes, sir.
Revenge is best served cold is basically the main saying of every single show with a supervillain and a superhero. Literally.
You had to say supervillain first, but okay, yeah. It is.
Like Flash is
Yeah, don't overreact to things. Get them back. Wait. Wait for it. Yes, sir. Yes, easy one. Yes, sir.
Like on chapter like 15 or 14, it said like a terrible promise he made. The promise he made is going to be terrible. Because my mom always says like think before you talk, and
Yes.
he didn't think before you talk, so he just trusted immediately.
Are you talking about Victor didn't think before he started?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So because of that, the creature got mad. So Victor wanted to he didn't want anything bad to happen.
Yeah.
But he didn't think before he talked. So.
And your mother saying is perfect here because Victor should have really thought about that before he made a promise he couldn't keep. All right, Lathan, you read for us. Charlie. Oh, Charlie. I think we're on the top of what is it?
166. I'll go that part.
166. I forgot to turn the page. Charlie, how about the top of that one?
He said quietly, with evil in his voice. But remember, I'll be with you always, ready for my revenge. And I will be with you on your wedding night. I lunged at him furiously, but he was too fast for me as he ran from the house and jumped into his boat. Moments later, I saw him shooting across the water with the speed of an arrow. Bing!
That is the thing. Look who's overreacting. The supposed human. Our victim. Not the creature. The creature's like, okay, I'm going to tell you exactly when I'm going to get you back.
So I'm gonna kill you on your wedding day.
See ya.
So you can die on your wedding day.
And then Victor, our supposed human, overreacts. Sir?
Or maybe, I don't know, but maybe instead of killing Victor, he might kill Elizabeth and make Victor sad because he did kill his brother.
The threat is I'm going to be with you on your wedding night, and we have made a promise to our dying mother, if you recall.
And can I pull up my
Yeah, and he's supposed to marry Elizabeth. Yes, ma'am, and Daniel, get ready.
So I think that instead of killing Elizabeth, I think he might kill Henry. Because Henry might be the best man. Exactly.
Anyone close to Victor, we have Henry, we have, not William anymore, we have Ernest, we have Elizabeth, and the father is very close to death, Alphonse. Yeah, good.
Alphonse.
All good choices if you want to seek revenge. Daniel, how about I stood on the shore?
So that's when I keep trying to kill me. I was afraid for myself that the bring such pain and sorrow to my dear Lily. Tears filled my eyes. They were the first tears I had shed in many months. At that moment, I made up my mind that I wouldn't let my enemy kill me, not without my fear.
You know, as smart as my man Victor is, he's really dumb.
Just like
Why does he keep thinking the monster's coming at him? You know?
I mean, the monsters are tame.
Yeah,
Chapter 7.
He wants to make him hurt.
for real.
And then he's not just gonna kill him and he's
All right, Taylor, are you ready for another dead body?
Can I wash my hands?
Yes. Well, when Aiden gets back. You ready? Chapter 17, the murderer strikes again.
That is the following morning.
Oh, she's reading. She's reading. I know. She's reading. Who's gonna die? We're gonna find out. Let's do it.
I know.
The following morning, I decided to leave the island and join Henry. I knew from his letters that he was
Anxious. Yeah, I'm
to
excited,
see
right?
me and continue our travels together. But before I left, there was one disagreeable task I had to perform. I had to pack up my medical instruments and clean up the laboratory. When I opened the door, the scene in that hateful room filled me with disgust. The remains of the partly finished creature lay scattered on the floor. I couldn't leave them there to be found by any island people who might come by. They would certainly be horrified and then suspicious of what I had been doing.
Yeah, most people would when they come by an old room and they find human body parts lying around that you did.
I would have ran.
Thanks for underplaying that scene, Victor. He said that he was horrified by the disgust of this hateful room, like maybe your mama would if you don't clean yours. Child, I'm so horrified by the way that you keep leaving your room. Like you gotta go clean your room. He's not the blood, the gore, the itty bitty bits and pieces of flesh. He's kind of making it sound like it's your messy room at home.
No,
that is no big deal.
thing.
I had to clean my room.
And clean the dead body parts.
And by the way, who had the freak out moment and ripped a body apart? Victor. Not the creature. Wouldn't you expect that to be a creature moment?
Yeah.
You know? Like if you were to tell a fourth grader, oh, dude, we're reading Frankenstein, and you're never going to believe what happened. The fourth grader might think, oh, the monster did it. And they're like, no.
No, this human ripping.
Yeah, the smart guy did. And they're like, really? Like that's going to blow their mind when they realize that our freak out, gross moments are coming from Victor in this book. Yes, sir.
So, you know, for someone supposedly so smart and great human beings, he, well, I mean, he's broken the law more than once.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
more
then-
than 10 times.
And then every time he does not tell the police, and now he's making it look like that it's the creature's fault. Now the room is so dirty.
Remember, like I said
You're the one
yesterday,
who ripped it apart.
where's my Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah, it's one of
Sherlock Holmes is the person at the detective.
What's that?
Is Sherlock Holmes the
It's
person?
not real.
I know, but
That would be really
Is
cool
he,
if Sherlock
like-
Holmes was real, though.
is he the one like that predicts human behavior?
Well, he can. He is a detective. But through the art of, and you're going to be reading about 10 Sherlock Holmes story with me, he says through the art of deduction, being able to deduce. Yes, and we'll learn a lot about that. That he can break a crime scene down. And supposedly in the first few minutes of every story, Sherlock Holmes has already solved the crime. He's just waiting on you to help to solve it yourself by the end. So there's a trick. It's almost like reading a puzzle when you're reading Sherlock Holmes to try and find all the evidence and try to solve it before the end. I think y'all will have a lot of fun with Sherlock Holmes.
That's that guy that we can actually predict human behavior.
When Charlie gets James gets back.
No, he also grabbed the bag.
I can't let people leave this room more than one at a time. Yeah. Yes. Chloe, get us back on track. Where we at, girls? So after washing on 170?
Yes, ma'am. So after washing and packing away all of my instruments, I gathered the body parts and tossed them into a large suitcase. I took
I love how he just calls it instruments.
Wait. They're not gonna, like, we'll let them take over, but we just wanted that to sink in. He just packed the body parts in a suitcase. The best comment ever made at all was Aiden, who said that was what?
suspicious.
Thank you. Keep going, baby girl.
I then took the suitcase down to the beach and added heavy stones to weigh the whole thing down. I fastened the lid. Then I hid the suitcase in a thick clump of bushes. I stayed in my hut until night fell. Then I returned to the beach and loaded the suitcase into my little stuff.
Now, a skiff, we would know that down south, honey, as a John boat. It's a little boat that you take out, just a little one, to go fishing in a pond.
Like a dinghy.
Yeah, so go ahead.
As I sailed out a few miles from the shore, I saw several fishing boats heading in towards the island. The man recognized me and waved, but I steered away from him and from the island.
So, we put human body parts in a suitcase. We weighed it down with stones, with rocks.
Which your boat's gonna sink.
We put it in the boat. We're clearly gonna dump it at sea. And we
Your
just
boat's gonna
waved at an eyewitness. Yeah, this is perfectly normal behavior.
Oh yeah, this is It's just a kid.
Charlie?
I do this daily.
Yes. Maya, who was girl, I know you weren't giving me the side eye. I know you were showing me you were giving Victor the side eye, because that was weird. Maya, start reading down at the bottom with I waited until.
I waited until the bright moon was hidden by a thick cloud, and under the cover of a moment of darkness, I tossed the suitcase into the sea.
Because it's just what you do with a human body. Go ahead, girl.
Ew.
As the suitcase gurgled and sank, I felt a new calm come over me. This calm, combined with the gentle rocking of the sea, made me so relaxed that I fell asleep.
Can you read one more for me?
I slept soundly all night. It wasn't until the following morning, when the sun was high in the sky, that I finally awakened.
We're in northern Scotland at some of the scariest waters, very cold and rough seas. We got really calm after dumping a body, so we took a nap.
Why?
And now,
He's trying to get in jail.
thank you.
It's literally different
That's
living
important.
parts that were digged up in a grave
Yes,
and then thrown into the ocean.
but then we relaxed and took a nap because we just felt calm.
Who said the monster not going to fly up?
Thank you. Oh, he's the monster now then. And now, we've been floating for we don't know how long. Lily Grace. I think we're at, where are we?
You're on wave 172.
A strong wind.
A strong wind.
A strong wind was blowing, and the waves were pounding hard against my little skiff. I realized that while I had been asleep, the wind had blown my boat far from the island where I lived. I was nowhere near any land, and I feared, probably somewhere out in the Atlantic Ocean.
One more, please.
Wow. The hours passed, and by late afternoon, the sea became very rough. I was beginning to suffer from thirst and from the heat and from the fear that I would die here in the middle of the ocean, either by drowning or from starvation.
This is your fault for taking a nap.
Thank
No,
you,
it's his
because
fault
we
for
got
the
calm
one making
after
it
dumping a body.
Yeah.
Not
Why,
normal
Victor?
behavior.
Why, Victor,
Skylar,
why?
bottom of 172 with just when daylight, girl.
Just when daylight was beginning to fade,
I spy.
I spied some land to the south. My one sail wasn't strong enough for me to
Maneuver is trying to really manipulate something and move it back and forth.
the boat. So I made a second sail from my shack. And
Eagerly, yeah, I was happily, really. I was into it.
the small town that appeared to have a good harbor.
Why'd you take your shirt off?
He needed another sail.
The pants.
He needed another sail.
No.
You needed that billowy part of the shirt then to catch that wind for the sail. One more, Skylar.
I was busy tying up the boat when
Several, yeah.
several town people came up to me and crowded around me. I was surprised that no one offered to help me since I was exhausted,
Ragged.
and dried out from the sun. Instead, they began whispering to each other.
Skylar, you know what's about to happen?
I know.
He's about to be treated
Like the
with
monster was
prejudice, like everyone else has treated the creature, the monster.
Why? He's human.
Oh, hello. But he's a human.
He is going to get a taste of what it was like for the creature. All these people, don't talk over this because this is important. All of those townspeople who looked at that creature, remember when I was talking about if I had met someone like the creature at Sam's? You know what I mean? I would try not to stare, but I'm not gonna like beat him up because he looks odd. Put your mask on. I'm not going to run away in horror. I would probably just try not to stare. Or help. I wouldn't want the person to feel awkward. I should be the one that feels awkward. You know what I'm saying? Victor's about to experience prejudice. And prejudice is when you prejudge someone or something, and you say, I am not going to like you for the way that you look.
How ugly you are, and how mean
I said
you
it
are,
looks sounds
and how
disgusting,
ugly.
but it is
Taylor,
Thank
That
you.
explains
Okay? Yes, sir.
Like Victor had, like the monster has suffered, because Victor, the monster is going to make Victor suffer.
Yes, but these townspeople are going to do it all on their own. So, Aiden, get ready for that. Yes, Daniel.
So, if the monster had to have come here and told them that Victor was his creator, because otherwise I don't think they'd be angry.
No, I don't think that they would have listened to the monster. Let's read, and I'll tell you what's going on here. Aiden, let's figure out who these people are. 174 with puzzled.
I told them that their behavior is called out. Good people would you be so kind as to tell me where I am? But this man stepped up and said, you will know soon enough. He said, harshly, you may not like this place, but no one here will care. And if you do or not. And I was surprised as such to really some strangers, but I had became more than up in son when I saw an angry frowns on every face I'm in. So I hardly expected an Englishman to be a stranger in such an unfriendly way. I told them
Indignantly means he was mad when he said it. Why y'all being so rude to me? That's what he's saying. Yeah? Let's figure out, because he said I hardly expected Englishmen to be so rude. Callie, take over with I don't know.
I don't know much about the way the English greet strangers, said the man, but you're an Irish right now, and we Irish hate villains. Villains, I guess. What do you mean? I haven't done anything villainous.
Hold the phone.
What did you have? You did the whole thing! Big little
Daniel, speak.
Okay. He said I haven't done any. We all know that he's done villainous things, but
Dig up the body. Dig up the body.
yeah, I know. But right here,
Up, Daniel.
right here, right now, I have a question for you. Why do the Ireland men
Just why?
why do they think he's a villain?
Let's let her read one more. Oh, no. Callie's going to read for us. Keep reading, girl.
Villains, I guess. What do you mean?
We already read that.
That's okay.
That's not for us to decide. You'd better come with us to Mr. Kerwin, our town magistrate. He'll want to question you about the murder of a gentleman here last night.
Finally, someone's going to the
I know
authorities.
exactly who it is.
I know, a magistrate.
Yeah.
Magistrate. Back in this time, and even in a way today, because, South Carolina is based on the rules of court from England, okay? But a magistrate at that time would have been a sheriff and a judge. We try to separate those. Yeah, but we're finally going to someone who might investigate something. We've got a dead body. Okay? We have a dead body.
And I know who
Yes, sir.
everybody is. Yes, it's Henry and the
We'll get there, but I want to explain the Irishman for you, okay? Yes, ma'am.
You know how on like top shows they like interrogate people?
Yes.
I think that's what this guy's gonna do.
I hope so.
He's gonna be like, where were you last night?
Oh, it's good. Somebody needs to be holding this boy accountable.
Oh,
Let's talk
let's do the right.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Body's blind.
If anyone needs a timeout, baby girl, it is Victor. Yes, ma'am.
My mom goes to a magistrate.
Your mom is a magistrate?
No, she goes to a magistrate.
Goes to a magistrate.
What's that?
It's really like a judge for our system in smaller towns. All right, look at this word. You don't need to write it down. Let's just talk about it. Because sometimes people get lost. I'm not done yet. Sometimes kids can get lost in the note-taking, and really it's going to be what we discuss about it that's even more important and that will stick with you. Xenophobia. Do you know that phobia means fear?
Yes.
Very good. Xeno. It's always going to be the prefix to the phobia that tells you what the fear is of. Xenophobia is the fear of strangers, but really it's the fear of foreigners, which is what these Irish people on this island have. And they have a reason, because there's a dead body in a small village. It can't happen that often for them. Now, a word about xenophobia. The fear of foreigners, the fear of strangers. I get how xenophobia was really important hundreds of thousands of years ago, when Cro-Magnon man was really scared of this new guy, caveman, because his forehead was not as big as Cro-Magnon. Have y'all seen a Cro-Magnon forehead in one of your social studies books? No. Those things are massive. But Cro-Magnon is giving old caveman the side eye, like, who's that dude? He's new. He looks different.
I'll just kill him before
The fear, xenophobia, the fear of the stranger kept the human race going and alive back in the day when we were still trying to figure out fire. Okay? But now, somewhere in our DNA, some people still have that. And that xenophobia has built and become prejudice. And it has developed into racism. I don't like you for what you look like. How crazy is that?
So crazy.
I don't even want to get to know you. I don't like you. Does that even make sense to you?
No, that's rude.
Thank you.
I would have even tried to get that.
But can you see how being afraid when man was very new, can you see how being afraid kept humankind going? It kept us safe, and it helped us kind of build our numbers. I get how that may have been important hundreds of thousands of years ago. Yeah? But eventually you kind of need to move on. Yes, move on, Doug.
Oh. What was that word you were talking about that was the first thing? Not xenophobia? The thing that was...
Xenophobia,
No.
The guy with the big forehead?
Yeah.
Cro-Magnon man.
Cro-Magnon man. Was he before the caveman?
Cro-Magnon was first.
Okay.
We still don't know about the missing link, but we think we have, a good lead.
Why? Oh.
First type of human.
How's that even... What's with Cro-Magnon man? Like, how... Why? What?
What I'm saying is, long ago, when man was first here, xenophobia was helpful. Having a general fear of someone that might hurt you kept you safe and let people become more people. Yeah?
That was the basically early... That was the early better thing.
Hundreds of thousands of years ago. The thing is now, look at the prejudice in this book. Look at the people who see the creature, do not get to know the creature like poor blind old Mr. DeLacy, who did spend a day with him and they became great friends. He didn't see it. He didn't prejudge the creature. He was not prejudiced.
So he just needs to be friends.
But everybody else is. I don't like you for the way you look. When you say it, when you actually say it, it sounds so bad. Like, oh, how could a person possibly do it? But y'all, you know some people do. Yes.
Oh, and the person with the, I forgot his name, but Mr. DeLacy's son.
Felix Sapien. Oh, don't forget your Agatha.
Oh, little Felix, like, if you see somebody sitting down with your father, stranger or not, you welcome him, and they're sitting down having a kind conversation.
Oh, honey, I'm Southern. I'm going to feed you, too. I don't care how ugly you are.
Would you really just come in there and take them out of the chair?
And beat them up.
And beat him with a stick?
No! They're kindly having a conversation with your father. If a child is having another conversation
Now,
with another
to be
child.
fair, when I said, Daniel, that I'm Southern and I'm going to feed you first, trust and believe that once you leave, I'm Southern and I'm going to be talking about how ugly you are when you left. Like, dude, what was up with that guy? He was weird looking. Now, I've been already polite and everything, but I'm going to talk about you when you leave. I'm honest. You know you all do it. Don't you look at me and you're so judgy, Rahel. Rahel's like, I cannot believe that you actually talk about it. I would be so polite. I'd offer you something to eat, but once you leave, I'm going to be like, what was up with that dude?
I don't know.
He was weird looking. I'm going to talk about you. Yeah? If the creature happened to come by my house and speak to my husband. You know? I'd feed him. I'd be real sweet. But then when you leave, I'm going to be like, yo, he was messed up. What was up with that guy?
Definitely.
Yes, thank you. Charlie? Absolutely. Yes, sir.
What came first, caveman or the Neanderthal?
Is it, all right, okay, now that's where I get confused. And that's where I need the Discovery Channel. Neanderthal or Cro-Magnon, or Cro-Magnon, and then Neanderthal.
Yeah,
This is when I actually need my husband here. He's my real nerd when it
I
comes
thought
to
that they were the same, but they're not.
completely different race.
Good.
Completely different race.
So what race came first?
No.
You know, there's things
See, I need my nerd. I need my resident nerd here. Who's reading next? Have we already made it through? How are we
it's
doing?
James.
Are we already there?
It's James again.
Let me check our time. Ooh, oh shoot.
It's over.
No,
Hold on.
don't go. I know you want
How
me
many
to play.
more?
No!
I can do it.
No, I
Wait
can
up.
read. I can read.
No, I got it. I got it.
There's 12
So I was puzzled. Let me check my sixth grade.
17 pages.
We're fine. But very certain that I can explain how I wasn't involved in any murder that took place here. So although I was exhausted and angry, I put my shirt back on, thank goodness, and followed the crowd to Mr. Kerwin's house. Little did I know the horror that was about to overwhelm me. The magistrate was a kindly old man who seemed fair as he questioned the crowd that led me to his house. The fisherman spoke first. I was out in my boat last night, sir, with my son, when the wind began to blow too strong. We pulled into shore, and as we were beaching our boat, I struck my foot against something hard. Well, by the light of my lantern, I saw that it was a body. A handsome young man. Okay. That's not the body parts in the bag, because that was a girl. I'd say about 25 years old. His body was still warm, so we weren't sure if he was dead or just unconscious. We carried him to a nearby house and tried to revive him, but it was no use. He was dead. At first, I figured that he drowned and that his body had been washed up on shore. But then we realized his clothes were dry, so he hadn't been in the water. Then we saw black finger marks on his neck. We know now who it is, right?
Yep.
We knew he'd been strangled. Well, I hadn't paid much attention to the man's story at first, but when he told of the finger marks on the man's neck, I felt my blood run cold. My hands began to tremble and my legs collapsed under me. I had to clutch at a chair to keep from falling. The magistrate looked at me strangely, but then turned his attention to a woman in the crowd and asked what she knew. The woman explained, you know, sir, I live near the beach, and a while before I heard about the murder, I saw a man in a boat push off from that part of the shore where the body was found, but I didn't recognize him. Well, turning to me, Mr. Kerwin said, since you were found on the shore with the boat, it will be necessary for you to come with me to see the body. Well, I figured he wanted to see how I would react to the body since I had become so upset when the fisherman described the finger marks on the man's throat. So I followed the magistrate and a few of the men to the village inn. We made our way to a bare back room that was empty except for a plain wooden coffin in the center. Then came a terrible moment. A moment almost too terrible, there it is, to talk about even now without shuddering in agony. For as I was led up to the coffin to see the lifeless body inside, I cried out in horror. That lifeless body stretched out before me was Henry Clermont.
I told you it was Henry.
Girl, you told me. Get me, Chloe. I gasped for breath and threw myself on his cold body. Sobs tore from my chest as I cried. Have my evil schemes killed you too, dear friend? Let me go ahead and answer that. Yes.
Yes.
I have already been responsible for the deaths of 2 others. Amen. How many more victims will that demon claim as he claimed you, Henry, my lifelong friend? I couldn't continue. My body began to convulse. We love that word in this book, in agony, and I slumped to the floor unconscious. Henry's dead. I can't with this video.
Your question is, what is
You
it?
got me, Chloe.
So Julie
Victor's out loud.
Justine.
Victor's out loud to say yes. 2 victims I got. William.
Wait, gotta pound it out, COVID.
People are like,
Get me, girl. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.